Well, this deserves a video in itself. This is JordanTower with JT News. If you want to run ads in the channel, it's jordantowermedia@gmail.com. Smash that subscribe button and smash that like button. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Okay, so Nicki Minaj was on Joe Budden's show, and actually, so far it's good. I haven't finished the whole thing yet. And let's not take away from the fact that she is addressing certain issues on there that she needs to address, you know, as far as defending herself. Where, you know, there was a, last year, there was a, I'll never forget that there was a Nicki over party. People were trying to take Nicki out of the game, especially in New York radio for some reason. It was very focused there. But besides that, okay, so Meek Mill and Nicki were dating, obviously, right? So Nicki did always have Meek's back when everyone turned their back on Meek. Not Rick Ross didn't, but DJ Khaled, everybody, you know, they just didn't touch him anymore because he was going through his issues with Drake, okay? And they were calling him Twitter fingers and everything. And Nicki held him down. And Nicki pointed out the fact that when she went to go meet with Obama with a bunch of other rappers, the first thing she brought up was Meek Mill and his probation situation. And Rick Ross saw that and texted Meek Mill like, yo, she's a keeper. She's got your back, right? But then when things go left with Meek, now we don't know, Meek alluded to certain things that happened there, and I don't know what's true or not because you're dealing with two celebrities protecting their brands. You know, one of the things Meek said is that it was a bad influence for him, okay? That's what he said when he was dropping wins and losses, okay? But anyways, she did held him down, okay? And Rick Ross took just like he did with Drake, okay? Something that really wasn't his issue with Meek Mill and Drake. That was their own little issue. Rick Ross put himself in the middle of that and spoke on certain issues like, oh, you think people were scared of your big homie? We're not scared, okay? I remember that. So when he dropped his album around that time last year, when he was going at Birdman, again, interjected. I did respect him sticking up for Wayne, but it could have also been a publicity move, okay? And going back and forth with Birdman. So around that time, he dropped a song called Apple My Eye, and in this song, he took a dig at Nicki Minaj, okay? He said, I told Meek I wouldn't trust Nicki. Instead of beefing with your dog, just give him some distance. I wouldn't trust Nicki instead of beefing with your dog, meaning Drake. Or no, I'm sorry. I wouldn't trust Nicki instead of beefing with me. He just gave him their distance. That's what he's saying. We all make mistakes. Let's not be too specific. He's kind of alluding to the Drake thing. Hey man, you know, it's like he probably shouldn't have spoke on that situation, you know, because that was between Meek Mill. You don't see Meek Mill talking about the girl that Rick Ross tried to marry and then had a baby with QCP, you know. That's none of his business. That's between Rick Ross and the girl and QCP. That's relationship stuff, you know, and they shouldn't really put themselves in the middle of that, being rappers and friends, right? So Nicki addressed that and said, I can never respect somebody that would, you know, take a dig at me when I had his artist back, and he knows that. I mean, there's many examples of Rick Ross doing things like this, and she also stuck up for 50 Cent. She said, you know, Rick Ross is trying to sell his new album, and he took a dig at 50 Cent when that whole problem is long gone. Nobody's thinking of that, and he brings it up out of nowhere, like instead of dismissing the question and being a professional, he said, I would do a song with 50 Cent if he was still hot, but 50 Cent's not really focused on music right now, and Rick Ross is, and still can't really get that much attention. Don't be fooled. A lot of the first week is purchased, okay? just know that. And another thing I didn't respect was Rick Ross. He spoke on Tekashi on Meek Mill's album on that song with Jay-Z. And I'm going to tell you, man, Rick Ross shouldn't speak on anything really about the street like that when you were a correctional officer, you know? that kind of like, hey, Rick Ross is a great rapper and I love his music. But when you were a correctional officer, that kind of throws everything out the window if you're going to talk about street stuff and someone telling or not, or someone claiming this or not. You were a correctional officer. You kept people behind bars and managed them behind bars, you know? So, come on, man. You know, I know some correctional officers are dirty. Most of them are, because they're getting stuff in the jail and they're getting paid for it. So what? That doesn't make you automatically like one of them, you know? It's just, come on. And your whole life is another man's life, man. Freeway Ricky Ross, you know? So I can respect Rick Ross or whatever, you know, William Robert, whatever, as a rapper. I can, okay? And I can separate the two. But when it comes into stuff like that, it's like, dude, come on, man. You know, just stick to the music, bro. Like, that's what you're good at. You were put on this earth to be a rapper, entrepreneur, and that's what you are, and you're doing great at it. But don't get into the silly games. And I think he dibble dabbles in the silly games because, again, let's go back to fame is one hell of a drug, man. Like Jay-Z said it best, you know, fame is the worst drug known to man, okay? And a lot of people will do anything to keep that attention on them. You know, it's a fact, you know? You know, it's just, you know, then I'll get into this in another video. But, you know, Nicki does, how do I say this? I can understand her frustration, okay? Because there was a movement to get Nicki out of the game and usher Cardi B in. And I said this in the video a year and a half ago, and I stand by it. Charlemagne and Ebro were definitely on that train to get Nicki, get her out of here. You know, they were on that. They're kind of hinting back at that now, even though, remember Rosenberg said something about Nicki a long time ago when she was about to go on stage at Summer Jam at their own event, and she said, "This ain't that Starship stuff." Like, you guys didn't like her then. And I'm not like being a Nicki Barb or anything. All I'm saying is what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. There's certain things I don't agree with that I think Nicki's hurting herself on some of these interviews. And I agree that she should definitely stick up for herself. You have to. If I had a daughter, I would tell her, always speak your mind and stick up for yourself. But there's a way to do it where you're not portraying yourself as a victim. You're just speaking your truth. And I think her delivery, and this is where a media coach would come in handy, because there's a way to craft. I mean, politicians are great at it, right? Every politician. I mean, no dig at Obama, okay? Because like, I voted for him in 2008, but he had me convinced he was going to make changes in 2008. Not much changed, okay? But that just goes to what a good speaker he is, okay? He's an amazing speaker. There are certain people that are just great at speaking, okay? And if Nicki were to formulate her argument in an organized, calm manner instead of, you know, yelling at somebody, I think that she would paint a better picture of what a lot of us sees going on. And I think it gets lost in yelling and making points that are way off the subject, you know? I agree she has a struggle she's fighting, and it's called the entertainment industry, and you know, they're looking, certain people in the music industry are looking at her expiration date when there is no expiration date. It's rap that gives you some sort of expiration date. Rap dates you, okay? The only culture to do that. I've always had a problem with that, you know? Like, even when, you know, like, anybody who's been in this business, in this genre, can relate to that. Like when I was doing music videos, you know? After the Come Up was out for a few years, people tried to date me, and then I had to reinvent myself with, you know, Worldstar. Me and Q teamed up and we did Worldstar, And then that had a date on it, for me doing music videos, At one point, especially a lot of rappers that I helped get on, it's like, oh, Jordan helped me get to this point, but now I got to go to the next level. Jordan has expired, there's not a lot of loyalty with fan bases and everything in this culture. Now, Nicki does have a very strong fan base that she works hard to interact with and include in everything, but I think that her delivery of the things that are happening to her are bad. I think she should have a different... And I don't have the answer because I'm not a media coach. I'm not a amazing speaker, okay? But there's a way to organize your argument. And if she were to do that and deliver it clearly, I think that people would get it. A lot of people, I'm looking in the comments, it's not me, okay? I'm just looking at what people were saying. And most people were saying, oh, she sounds better in this. And she does in her delivery, but I get what she's talking about. But I've known her since 2006. I don't know her past 2008 or 9, right? Me and her haven't spoke at all, right? After 2009. But I get the beginning struggles, and you can just see what's going on just from seeing what's going on from afar. You can kind of get it if you've seen it before in the music business, I don't know everything about her. I don't know her. I could actually say I don't even know her anymore because she's probably a totally different person than she was in 2008, But I'd get an artist's struggles, okay? I'm still friends with Cormega to this day, and I've seen his struggles just with the Nas stuff, It's like people can never get past certain moments, and I don't think anybody will ever get past the motorsport problem because such a big deal was made out of it last year. Or the year before, whenever that problem happened, it was last year. That shouldn't, when you make a big deal out of one moment like that, that moment will never, ever, ever, ever expire unless you stop talking about it. I don't think she should be talking about it now. I think you should just let it be what it was. You said your piece, and it is what it is. You're not going to really change people's opinion anymore. People think what they think. People are brainwashed out here. They are. People get brainwashed easily. And you just gotta check the temperature, and the temperature isn't right. It's not right. Anyways, guys, I'll check you guys later. This is Jordan Tower with JT News. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope I made my point. I kind of went on a ramble, but I appreciate you guys so much. Peace.